It is obvious that the Democratic Party is totally in support of the ongoing rioting in some major cities in the United States of America. The Democratic politicians and the mainstream media refused to condemn the rioting, calling it peaceful demonstrations, although many people have been killed on the process. Rioters have also been destroying properties, setting businesses and houses of hard-working Americans on fire.
In our nation's capital, peaceful protesters are confronted with the deployment of various security officers with from multiple jurisdictions, including, and this is important, unidentified federal law enforcement.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
As we go to air tonight, the United States of America is unravelling for all the world to see as race riots leave many of the nation's biggest cities burning in almost unimaginable scenes. Across the country, police are in the line of fire, facing the rage of protesters following the death of a black man at the hands of officers. The wave of violence has now washed across 29 cities, from New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, Seattle and Minneapolis, ground zero for that anger and outrage now being vented by so many Americans. We have our US team on the ground. Bureau Chief Ashley Mullaney begins our coverage.
Tree gone to hell. A loaded assault rifle snatched by a private guard at gunpoint as officers dangerously outnumbered, surrounded.
Officers being chased by the group here.
Their cars on fire. Looters take over. As Saturday night anarchy reigns through America. This is Beverly Hills. High-end stores looted, famous shopping centre The Grove cleaned out. And burning. Fairfax near Hollywood, a battleground. LA has survived a history of race riots. It's in one again.
It's one of our darkest days when I saw it last, and it's repeating.
This time it's nationwide. New York, under siege.
Leave them alone! Don't get out of here!
Besides, the so-called peaceful demonstrations also targeted sacred places. Holy statues were desecrated. Several churches were vandalized and burnt down. Sometimes, the Holy Bibles and American flags were ceremonially set ablaze, surrounded by a crowd of cheering Antichrist and anti-America arsonists. On May 31st, the parish house of St. John's Episcopal Church was set on fire by rioters.
St. John's Church is on fire. The parish office, we went downstairs and it is on fire. I'm going to walk this way, and this is awful. We saw graffiti. Once the door was broken, we saw something similar happen earlier. And as you can see, there's definitely a fire here. This is the parish office. Here, come on back. Come on back. Come on back up. That's good. So they're trying to clear the area, Shannon, with the pepper spray and with the tear gas to try to clear people.
Anything we can do to get it out?
No, I don't know that there's anything we can do to put that out. I didn't see an extinguisher.
On July 11th, a Florida man drove his minivan into the Queen of Peace Catholic Church Ocala and then set it on fire as parishioners were praying.
A driver plowed into a Florida church and then set it on fire as parishioners prepared for Mass Saturday, but no one was hurt, authorities said. Marion County Sheriff's Office deputies arrested Stephen Shields, 24. The church was packed with people preparing for Mass at the time of the attack. Firefighters quickly arrived on site and put out the flames. No serious injuries were reported.
The 249-year-old San Gabriel mission in California was burnt down on July 12th.
One of the 21 missions in California caught fire today, and it was just about to celebrate a major milestone. The San Gabriel mission in Los Angeles County caught fire before dawn.
There's a big hole. It's going to go right into it. There you go.
Apart from church buildings, sacred statues are also chosen targets for the Antichrists.
Police are also investigating vandalism outside a Dorchester church where a statue was set on fire. It happened last night at the St. Peter's Church on Bowdoin Street. WBZ's Paul Burton says someone actually set fire to the plastic flowers that were on the statue.
It's horrible. Why would anybody do that?
It's just uncalled for.
Folks waking up Sunday morning in Dorchester were shocked to see a statue of the Blessed Mother Mary vandalized.
This is obviously someone disturbed, someone who has a lot of trouble, a troubled soul.
Father John Curry is pastor of St. Peter's Parish in Dorchester. He said last night someone set plastic flowers on fire that the statue was holding.
Disappointment, sadness. You know, the image of Our Lady is so important for us in our faith.
Neighbor Donald Ellis fought back tears.
A poor little woman, an elderly woman, every single day she comes down, puts a flower on that statue and prays.
The arms, hands, and face are damaged. Right now, police are still searching for the person responsible. There are surveillance cameras in the area, but the ones that the church owns does not capture the statue. Folks that live around here and attend service here are disgusted by what happened.
A statue of Mary located outside Cathedral Preparatory School and Seminary in Queens, New York, was desecrated on July 10th.
It was spray painted really from really her belly to all the way down.
Only faint remnants of graffiti are left on this statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary that sits outside the entrance of Cathedral Preparatory School and Seminary in Elmhurst. On Friday, under the cover of darkness, it was vandalized.
About 3 o'clock in the morning, we saw somebody that approached the statue and very simply just spray painted it as if it was an ordinary thing for them to do, and they kind of walked away, and that was it.
Father James Caroli, the rector-president of the school, said when he came out Friday morning, he saw this, the word idol in thick black spray paint down the front of the sacred statue.
Writing idol is kind of an accusation against what we believe in. We obviously do not believe that the statue is an idol, but rather an instrument that is used to help us to bring us closer to the Blessed Mother, who in reality brings us closer to her Son.
The incident is being investigated by the NYPD as criminal mischief. Police are searching for this individual, completely covered in clothes and wearing a hat. They have not been able to determine if it's a man or woman. Regardless, Father Caroli believes hate motivated the suspect.
We saw this really as a hate crime immediately.
Father Caroli says the statue, which is more than 100 years old, means so much to the young men of Cathedral Prep, past and present, and the community it watches over.
A vandal desecrated a statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe on September 11th. He climbed over a fence outside the Shrine Church of Our Lady of Solace in Coney Island, toppled the statue and then threw it across the footpath on a broad daylight.
Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe audi nos, Christe exaudi nos, Pater de celis Deus, Filii Redemptor mundi Deus, Spiritus Sancte Deus.
On September 16th, St. Patrick Cathedral in El Paso, Texas, was vandalized and a historic statue of Jesus desecrated. What is your take on this awful development? If this could happen in the United States of America when the Democratic Party is not in charge of the presidency, imagine what will happen to Christians, Jews, and all the God-fearing people all over the world if Biden becomes the president. The world already had a taste of it during Obama-Biden's 8-year tenure. And some African countries such as Libya and Nigeria are still to come out of the crisis that the Obama-Biden regime brought upon them.
The level of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if, by my own thinking, and also the way some other people looked at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned. Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter, that tells you something. And we should not sweep these things under the carpet. If a foreign country, or an African country, or even America or any other country interferes with our own elections, we should mention it.
Persecution of the faithful is on the rise in Nigeria. Earlier this month, a Christian pastor was beheaded by Islamic extremists after he refused to renounce Christ. Late last year, 11 Christians were executed by ISIS terrorists. One report says between November 2018 and October 2019, more than 1,300 Christians were killed in Nigeria. Joining us now with a look at this troubling situation is Tawfiq Baklini. He is president of In Defense of Christians. That is a nonprofit and nonpartisan human rights and advocacy organization based in Washington, D.C. Tawfiq, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for talking specifically about Nigeria and what's going on. There's an ongoing genocide in Nigeria, and we don't hear much about it. So thank you for this.
Absolutely. Why do you think there has been a rise in violence against Christians in Nigeria?
There has been, I mean, it's only because they're Christians. I mean, Christian persecution around the whole world. 80% of persecution is against Christians worldwide. And in Nigeria, it happens that they're not a minority. They're 50% of the country. And they've been persecuted only because they're Christians, for their faith.
Is the government in Nigeria doing anything about it?
No, almost nothing about it. And that's another problem. We should really work to make sure they're accountable and to have the Christians in the north be protected.
In this land. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
This happened earlier today. Members of the Catholic mission in the nation's capital, Abuja, on a prayer procession seeking God's intervention over the rising cases of insecurity in the country.
We therefore appeal to the government to immediately put a stop to this unprecedented wave of violence and brutality aimed particularly at Christians. We also call for the arrest and prosecution of those behind these senseless killings that sow the dangerous seeds of hate and distrust among the various segments of the Nigerian society. We are sad. We are in sorrow and grief.
President Trump, on the other hand, made religious freedom one of his top priorities, and he is staying true to his promise as usual.
Well, President Trump standing up for Christians in a meeting with the Nigerian president.
We're deeply concerned by religious violence in Nigeria, including the burning of churches and the killing and persecution of Christians. We encourage Nigeria to do everything in their power to immediately secure the affected communities and to protect innocent civilians of all faiths.
The killings of Christians, Christian persecution getting virtually no coverage on the mainstream media.
President Trump is the first U.S. president to host a meeting at the UN on religious freedom. And to put things into perspective, 1 in 9 Christians worldwide face intense persecution, and that's up 14% from last year, which is why the White House is making this a top priority.
As president, protecting religious freedom is one of my highest
priorities.
In his keynote address to the UN, President Trump pointed to alarming statistics showing 80% of the world's population live in countries where religious liberty is threatened, restricted, or even banned.
When I heard that number, I said, please go back and check it because it can't possibly be correct. And sadly, it was 80%.
To top that, it's estimated 11 Christians die each day for their faith. In response, the president announced an additional $25 million in funding to protect religious sites and relics. There will also be a new business coalition focused on workers.
This is the first time this has been done. This initiative will encourage the private sector to protect people of all faiths in the workplace.
Why is the president's call to action a major step when compared with past presidents' focus on this same issue?
I think the fact is it's not just words on the part of this administration. I believe that as that microcosmic example of the president's efforts on behalf of Pastor Brunson made clear, he used the instruments of American power.
Frank Gaffney, CEO of Save the Persecuted Christians, says it's now up to the rest of the world to follow suit.
This video is a call for all Christians, Jews, and peace-loving people from the United States to pray and vote for the re-election of President Trump. Whereas the rest of the world is called to pray for a landslide win for President Trump in November 3, 2020. It is also very necessary that all Christians make some acts of reparation for all the sacrileges committed against our Lord Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Mother. Please, do not forget to share this video. Thanks, and remain blessed.
Et benedictio Dei omnipotens.
May the blessing of Almighty God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit
et Spiritus Sancti
descend upon you,
descendat super vos, et maneat semper.
and remain with you forever.
Amen.